I don't know how it started, but I do not believe that guys are that afraid of commitment. Like, I don't think that that's the issue. I think the issue is that they've just become accustomed to, like, this is the normal. And so I think if girls were to say, you need to make this official or I'm done, they would snap into shape. Like, that's my guess. And I feel like I've seen that with a lot of my friends who are dating now, that they just need to be, which is so unfortunate that that's like the girl's responsibility now, because it really shouldn't have to be, that we need a culture of men who are like taking the lead.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Gen Z Unplugged. Today we have a really exciting video for you all. Happy early Valentine's Day. We're very excited here at the center. We are going to have some advice for you all today about some general love advice. We're going to talk about our favorite conservative couples, some date ideas. So we're very excited for all of that.
And we also want to kind of talk about fun things relating to Valentine's Day. One thing we want to talk about first is kind of just our ideas of what fun Valentine's dates would be. Maybe some not so fun Valentine's dates, hopefully without offending everyone. We want to get into those a little bit. So I'm boring. Always, I'm going to go with the Valentine's date dinner. Love dinner.
Very classic.
It's like Ethan and I, we like often wait till we have kind of like enough money saved to go to what we call good dinner. So we like literally have a cup of cash that's labeled good dinner. And so we like contribute to the cash thing and then we'll go out to dinner or something. And that's like a little bit nicer. Like I actually have to change it out of the sweatpants or whatever. So big fan of something a little elevated. We are not really like an activity couple. I try to be, and we have friends who are, and we love going with them, but like he and I are always going to choose like just to eat. And like we're getting dessert and we're getting coffees at the end. Like we're going full European. That. Yeah.
I love that. There is a beauty to that. Just the simple, very classic elevated dinner. I think that sometimes people don't do that anymore, and that's just that. So I think that's good that you and Ethan do that, and that's very fun. I do tend to like more of the activity stuff. So I have one on here. I saw, it was an ad on Instagram. I saw recently that there was like a Candlelight concert opera or music or concert. Yeah, something like that. I feel like that's very like fun, elevated for Valentine's Day.
That's such a good idea. I actually saw so many, I'm targeted because that's just the stuff that I like to look up. But I got so many ads for the Candlelight concert in DC with the Lord of the Rings soundtrack.
Yes, I saw that too.
And I was about to get it for Ethan for Christmas, but it was like way deep into DC. So it would take like on a Thursday. It's like a random day of the week. But those look so fun. And that they have like, I think I saw, was it Isabel Brown or someone recently went to one of those Candlelight concerts? I don't remember. Maybe it was like Narnia music. Does Narnia have a notable soundtrack? I don't know. But it was something. Yeah, it was something like that. But that's really fun. And it's like all these candles all over the stage and a symphony and whatever. So I also really like those places that will like play the movie and then also have the band. So fun.
Yeah.
But that's a good one. That's very romantic. Okay. I don't know if people actually do this, but group dates for Valentine's Day. Banned. Weird. Only you and your significant other. That's my rule. I don't want to see anyone else.
I agree. Honestly, I would be judging hardcore if I saw like a group. Like if I was at dinner with my person and I looked over and I'm like, oh, wait, that's like a group of people and like a bunch of couples, I would be judging.
Yeah. Like I definitely did that with my high school boyfriend, I'm sure. I was like a sophomore in high school doing that.
I feel like we're above that now.
Yeah. Because it was like, well, we probably didn't even have a car, so we were like someone's mom and then a bunch of us in the minivan. So that's one of mine. But yeah, activities can definitely be fun. I think the concerts are cool. I have never been one to like want to go on a trip, but I know people are into that too.
Yeah. Fun. I feel like for something like Valentine's Day or Christmas, like I always want to be home, I feel like, for those holidays. But if it's like 4th of July, I think that's kind of fun to go on a trip, but especially during the colder months, I'm kind of a homebody.
Yeah, me
Stay
too.
home.
I like don't want to go. And also, like, I am a big fan of the Valentine's date of just stay at home too and make nice dinner and like make the house all cute. And I love chocolate covered strawberry. So, I'm making chocolate covered strawberries for Valentine's Day, which will be really fun. But okay, this is, I guess it's too late for you to make a reservation right now. So that's out the window. But for next year, oh my gosh, you have to make reservations so far in advance. Like, we tried to get into a restaurant in DC and Ethan went on and tried to book it a month out, like the day that it opened. And it had already said like 34 people have visited this. We couldn't get it. And it was 8 a.m. It was crazy.
What?
So
That's
we actually are
crazy.
going to a place the night before Valentine's Day
Okay.
because it's so ridiculous. So being at home solves that problem a little bit. And like an Italian dinner, all that stuff, a little bottle of red wine, something nice. So that's really fun too.
I think it's fun to get like dressed up at home too.
Yeah.
Like put on a nice dress, get the candles out. I love just like a random candlelight dinner every once in a while too.
Yeah. Dress for dinner, like
yes.
Downton Abbey.
Yes. Yeah. I think another one, I did this a couple years ago with my boyfriend at the time. We went to like a pottery painting place. I don't know if you guys like painting, but I love painting. So it was like one of those places where you go in and you paint something and then they keep it overnight and then they make it all shiny and glazed and stuff. So that was a really fun little activity too. Kind of like a daytime thing. Maybe that before dinner.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, that's a really fun idea. I like that one too. But whatever y'all like to do, go do those things. Those are just some ideas that we have. Like I have these friends who just love activities. They're probably gonna play pickleball or something, or like go swim laps in a pool like, for Valentine's Day. That's their fun thing. Or like go to the gym together. That's really fun. I think Ethan and I'll probably do that on Saturday. So, and I'm gonna make pancakes. I will be making pancakes in a heart shape.
As you should.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my plan. But regardless, it just matters that your little person is there.
Yeah.
So, okay, that kind of leads us into another thing we want to talk about. How long do you have to be dating someone to go on a Valentine's date?
Yeah, I think that's very funny. That's a funny thing to consider because it's kind of the same thing with birthdays. Like how long or how much do you go in for a birthday gift if you've been dating them for like 2 weeks? Because maybe you don't really know them that much, or maybe you were friends, but you just haven't been dating that long. So how much effort do you put in? That sort of thing. I think you can I think if you are official, boyfriend, girlfriend, I think you should definitely still do something.
Yeah.
I think he should get you some roses or whatever. I think it's fine to expect that, even if it's only been like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know what your opinion is, but I
guess it depends. If you are labeled, you are dating, you're a couple, if he doesn't take you for Valentine's Day, then what the heck?
Yeah.
But I'm talking, I guess more, it's kind of funny to think about like starting to date someone. Like, what's the date today? The 5th?
Yeah.
Like if you start dating someone on February 5th, like start talking to them.
Oh, the talking
or
stage,
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week is Valentine's. Like maybe you've gone on 3 dates and then the next week is Valentine's Day. What do you do?
If you're not labeled.
Yeah, if you're still like in that first stage, I think the guy can really take the initiative and say, I know, like he can even, I think acknowledging it is good. I think you can even say like, oh, I know we haven't been together that long, but maybe we could just do dinner. But then you run the risk of going out to dinner and the waiter being like too much with that. Like there's.
But then it's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's true.
The waiter's too much.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like, you're just chill. You don't really know. Yeah, I think that's fine.
I think that's fun too. But yeah, that one's kind of, I feel like that's tough. But I feel like if it's really recent, I could see myself not like making plans with my girlfriends on that night. Yeah. So then the problem, and then you can be like, oh, like I have these plans with these girls I made before I like started talking to you. And then you kind of have a reason. And then you get to hang out with your girlfriends, which that's another Valentine's Day idea. So do something with your girlfriends, make cookies or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough. What do you think?
I agree with that. I guess if you don't have a label, it's kind of up to the guy. And I think it's up to us to either one, not be offended if he doesn't ask you for Valentine's Day, or drop some hints if you want that. Yeah. But also still not be offended if it, he doesn't do anything super special. But yeah, I think it's kind of up to them. You can kind of go with the flow. I like the idea of having the out if you don't want that to have some friends with girls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I can kind of play it chill.
Whatever
But,
works.
Yeah. I like a good Galentine's Day too.
Same.
I saw this thing on Pinterest. It was like a charcuterie board, but all Valentine's Day themed. So the little Trader Joe's hearts cookies and the chocolate covered strawberries and the pretzel sticks with pink sprinkles and all that. And then Dunkin' has these donuts that are like filled with fudge only for Valentine's Day. Highly recommend. I'm obsessed with them, guys, if you haven't tried them. But like having all those on like a little spread and watching a movie and doing face masks or whatever. Yeah. That's always fun for the girls too.
That's really fun. I like that one a lot. And one thing that I think a lot of people don't know what to do if they, aren't dating anyone and they don't have like friends around that they can hang out with. What should those girls do? Yeah.
And I think if you're struggling with that, the biggest thing to remember, it's not that big of a deal. It's a singular day. Sure, it's a fun day, but don't put all this undue pressure on yourself. It's not that big of a deal. And you can always, treat yourself, have a fun little, I'm kind of a homebody. I like my alone time. I would put on a rom-com. Maybe that's depressing for some people, but if I just put on a rom-com by myself, throw on some twinkle lights, I'd call it a day.
It's cute.
But yeah, also, I feel like if your mom's available, maybe she has a date with your dad, but if your mom is available, I think hanging out with your mom on Valentine's Day is really cute.
That's so cute. Yeah, you gotta remember your parents too. Cause I remember, Valentine's Day doesn't have to be about couples. It can just be about love in general and family. Cause when I was a kid, I remember, it's so cute, I'm gonna cry. My grandpa gave me a little heart-shaped pin thing and asked me to be his Valentine. Oh, it was so cute. So I was I felt so special because he chose me instead of my grandma. I mean, obviously they went on a date and everything. Yeah. But as a kid, I was I'm so special for this. So that was really cute too. It's not just about significant other. Because I know, I think it's kind of a cliche that people get really down on Valentine's Day, but there's definitely people out there who do it feels hard, especially if you've been dating and nothing has worked out for years and years and years, and you're I want a wife, I want a husband, I want a family, and it's not working out. It is a reminder that you are surrounded with love in all these different ways too.
Mm-hmm. Or sisters too, if you have sisters. Mm-hmm. I don't have any sisters, but I feel like they'd be fun to hang out with for Valentine's Day. Yeah. But like you said, just it's not all about significant other love.
Right.
There's other outlets too.
Yeah, exactly. And something that I was thinking of when we were talking about this is you mentioned gifts for Valentine's Day. That's always a hard one. It's how far do you go? Because I know some couples where a woman will have on a beautiful ring and I'll say, oh, where'd you get that? And she said, my husband got it for me for Valentine's Day. And I never think of that as a big gift holiday, but a lot of people do jewelry and that sort of thing. I will be happy with flowers and a note. Love a note.
Yeah, good little handwritten note, cute card.
Yeah, I like to keep all of Ethan's notes to me in my little drawer next to my bed, so you can see. And it's really cute to look back because I think I have a letter from him from our first Valentine's Day, and we were actually very fresh back then because I don't think we'd said I love you yet or anything, so we were probably a month and a half in or something. I got him way too many gifts. It was weird.
I made him a gift giver though. Is that?
Only for him, because it's so easy to buy for someone you know well.
Yeah.
But I gave him a box full of something to read, something to wear, something.
Oh wait, that's really cute.
Yeah, it was cute. But then I ended up making him feel really bad because he did flowers and cards, which is nice. But this year I've just asked for good dinner. So
that's good. That's good.
But do you think? Okay, going back to the situation of. You've just started dating someone. Do you get them a gift?
I don't think you need to. If you just started dating, I feel maybe this is kind of controversial. I feel Valentine's Day is more about the girl. It is. I've only dated a guy through one Valentine's Day. So I've only had one Valentine's Day as when I was a girlfriend to somebody. And he didn't even want anything. He was this is this is your day. This is not mine. So I had no pressure in that.
Yeah.
But we've been dating for a while then, but he specifically told me no. So I was okay. But yeah, I don't think you need to put all this pressure for buying gifts, especially maybe controversial, especially as a girl. I don't think if you just started dating, let the guy get you some roses.
That's
read a
good.
card. Maybe you read a card too,
Yeah.
but nothing crazy.
Yeah. This is making me think of a friend I had who started dating someone right before Valentine's Day last year. And they went out to dinner and he had already put flowers on the table. So he got there first on purpose. And then she came and it was like casual. Oh, those are for you, by the way. Because they'd only been, I don't think they were official yet. So that's a good example. And I was like, oh, was that weird? Was he doing too much? And she wasn't even sure he was going to ask her to go out with him on Valentine's Day, but he did. And then he did the little flowers gesture and she was like, that was perfect. And so I think that was really cute. Like, getting flowers is always good. Even if you get flowers on the first date, men, listen, that is a good move.
Yeah.
That is always a good move.
No,
and like a little chocolate or something. Or even if you've just been talking for a while, writing a little note that says like, I've loved getting to know you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Something short, sweet.
Don't have to be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like subtlety is good.
Mm-hmm. I remember I was in the talking stage with somebody, and this was during college, so I was kind of in the cafeteria. I was on the phone in the stairway. It was too loud in the cafeteria, so I was on the phone in the stairway. And this guy who I was talking to, he kind of passed by, saw me, and I was like, oh, I'm on the phone, 1 sec or whatever. He's like, oh yeah, fine. So he keeps on walking up the stairs. But then he comes back down the stairs again, and he slipped M&Ms into my pocket without me even knowing. I was like,
what kind of pants were you wearing?
it was my hoodie pocket. So it was like, just like, he kind of like, whatever. But it was so
like, how did you do
smooth.
that?
I was like, oh my gosh.
Dang.
So yeah, I think when guys, and we were just talking at that point. So if you're in the talking stage, some flowers, a little chocolate. Yeah.
Classy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's rare
That's the
that a
move.
girl would be like, oh, this is too much. So.
Mm-hmm. And if it is, maybe she's not the one. So
yeah. Should move on from her.
I feel like sometimes liberal women kind of hate Valentine's Day because they hate all men. So, and again, it's not just significant other love. Yeah. But if you are going that route, and the liberal women are just hating on men and love in general. So
that is true. That is
they're
kind
so
of a
bitter
phenomenon. There's like, yeah, it makes me sad to see the bitterness online.
Mm-hmm.
Sad to see. Okay.
Yeah.
Another fun topic is conservative couples that we love.
Oh, yeah.
So many.
Mm-hmm.
So many good ones. Okay, you can start.
Okay, I have a short list. I think my first one, classic, Ronald and Nancy Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing like the throwback pictures of them, like with all the kids in the black and white and them in the rose garden and things like that. I just think they're very classy, very tasteful.
Mm-hmm. And you can see how
Love
much
them.
they loved each other. Like he just seemed very sweet to her. And she wrote a book, I think it's called I Love You, Ronnie. I don't know, it might have been published after he had passed away, but yeah, they're super sweet together. And we had one of our college women's summits up at the Reagan Ranch one year, which if you have the opportunity to go, it is amazing. And there were all of these little things in their house because they left it untouched from the last time the Reagans were there. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you can see like their clothes hanging in the closet, and there's still like a jar of jelly beans there, which is really, really sweet. But this was kind of a fun thing is that President Reagan, instead of buying a king bed, he had two perfectly good twin mattresses and he just tied them together. And like they told a story about like her kind of giving him a hard time about that. But I thought that was kind of sweet. It was like kind of simple and humble. Like they were a humble couple, despite, being president and first lady of the United States. So I think they're a good one. Another really sweet couple is Katie McFarland and her husband Alan.
Yes.
They are so sweet together. Katie is a foreign policy expert and she worked in the first Trump admin. So she does a ton of speaking at our events. She's amazing. But she gave a talk recently at Muhlenberg College and her husband Alan came with her. And she made a point to point him out in the audience and said like, that man right there has been my rock, has been like my steadiness. And she was kind of just answering, I think she was answering a student question about like remaining strong in your values. And she pointed to him. And I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah. And I think she was kind of at a point where, women weren't super involved in politics in her time. And she only had a few people to look up to when she was kind of getting into all that. And I think she kind of made a point to where he was always so supportive of that.
Mhm.
Even though that was kind of a new realm for women, he kind of just went all in and was like, yes, go do that. I'll, clap for you,
Yeah.
support you. So yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
And another couple that we've had at 2 events, our Nashville 2024 summit and our Scottsdale 2025 summit. They came to both of them, are Reagan Conrad and her husband, Adam. I love them so much. They're so cute, and they're pregnant now. Reagan's having a little baby boy. So,
and they released that little video of them finding out that she was pregnant. I watched that like 6 times. So creepy of me. But it was so cute. So yeah, they seem like a really sweet couple. And like, I don't know, you can just tell by the way that they interact. And she talked a lot about him on stage when she gave her talk. She was like, marriage is awesome. Like, my husband's over there. And she like made jokes about how she doesn't cook, but he's a great cook and all of that. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's just, I think it's really, really great for our young women to see all of these role models who aren't just like standing up in the culture and standing up in policy, but they're also representing good, healthy marriages. And when the culture tells you that marriages only end in sadness and misery, to have examples of ones who are not just like, oh yeah, I'm married, but to say I'm married and I love it. Yeah. And so many of them got married young. Like, I think Reagan probably got married when she was like 23-ish or something like that.
Yeah, around
and
there.
So I think that's a really healthy role model for people to see that you can get married young and it doesn't destroy your life.
Yeah, and actually adds to it. Mm-hmm. And it's not only like, oh, you'll be miserable when you're married. It's also the culture. If it's not that dramatic, they're like, oh, like, you have to stay home, make sourdough, like that whole thing too. And we talked a lot about this at the center. You can do both. And here are these like women up on stage giving these talks, and they have careers and all that. And they also have a husband who's supportive, and they love it. They love both. So even if it's not as dramatic as you'll go into misery, which normally it is, it's either misery or you'll have time for nothing else, or children will ruin your life, or all these things. So yeah, our speakers do a good job at proving them wrong.
Yeah, they do. And another one that we're big fans of is Allie Beth Stuckey and her husband, who she refers to as Chief Relatable, which it just makes me laugh. And she doesn't post him a lot, but he's been on her podcast before and kind of talked about their story. And I know they have 3 kids together. And yeah, they're just a really cool couple. Like, I think about the things she posts from Share the Arrows, which is her national conference. And like the way that I think he like to start off the conference, he prayed over her, which is super cool. And I know that they work together for, Relatable for their business, but she's the face of the business. And I think that that's awesome to be able to work with your husband. And then you're not just collaborating on, raising kids, but you're also collaborating in work too, which I think is really cool. So it's it's like a combo of that like family and then more of that like intellectual career type stimulation. So be able to do that with your significant other is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that is very cool. Another couple kind of like that, which is, we haven't met personally, but obviously they're all over social media right now, are Vance and Usha. Yeah. And I think they have a lot of overlap in their professional lives too. Just in speaking engagements that he's like going to, and she's always there. And I love how they bring their kids to everything, and they're just normal kids holding a teddy bear, or like, picking their nose, or like all these things. I just love how they're a good representation of just a young American family and how they're doing it and all that sort of thing. So.
Yeah. And this was posted on our Instagram, but what Vice President Vance said about Usha and how people were coming after her and attacking her. And he said, you can come after me, attack me, but don't attack my wife. She's out of your league. So cool.
Yeah.
And they've been married a while. So it's like not letting that fire in the spark die is kind of sweet. Like, they do a really good job with that. And she's pregnant now. Do they know if they're having a boy or a girl, or have they said?
Boy.
They are. Okay.
Yeah, they're having a boy.
Wow. So exciting. So that one's really sweet. Another one is Becky Norton Dunlop, who she's on the board of Young America's Foundation's Reagan Ranch, but she also worked at Heritage for a very long time. And she spoke here recently and brought her husband with her. And the very first thing she did when she got up to the podium was thank him for being just like a sustaining force in her life. And I thought that was really cool.
That was another one. You could really see that she just loved him and he loved her. And they were the sweetest.
Mm-hmm.
She was like standing right here and she like pointed to him. He was sitting over there. He's like, and everyone kind of looked and he was like just there smiling. It was so cute.
It was really sweet. And yeah, she called him her better half. And
yeah.
And she actually gave really good marriage advice to the audience. And then also she took the time to specifically talk to our interns about marriage. And she gave amazing advice that I think every young woman and young man needs to hear, is that marriage is never 50-50. It's 100%, 100% all the time. So we can't break, marriage into these categories of, oh, well, I do the dishes, he does the trash, or I am in charge of the kids, he's in charge of the money, or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it is, you're doing 100% of it 100% of the time. And if that means that I'm sick and I can't do something for a week, then my husband steps in to do the things I couldn't do, and vice versa. And so she models that really well.
Yeah. Another one who we really admire, and she also came to our Scottsdale Summit, is Isabel Brown. And her husband's name is Brock. We haven't met him, but again, she talks about him with such love, and she brought her baby to the summit, mm-hmm. which was adorable. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I love the way she talks about him, and they're both extremely busy in their professional lives too. She has a new show. She has her podcast every day. She's mm-hmm. on Daily Wire, Fox, all these things. And I think he works in DC. We did a podcast with her at the summit. I forget exactly what he does, but he has a busy life too. So mm-hmm. the fact that they're able to do that and support each other. And she talks a lot about, marriage, and having her prayer recently, as she's been saying, is less of me, more of you, God, so I can have the strength to do all these things, mm-hmm. To be a mom to her baby, to be a wife to her husband, and then inspiration to thousands of women, hundreds, millions. She's over 1 million followers mm-hmm. online. So love her.
Yeah, she's great. I love that she always says that. It's like mm-hmm. less of me, more of you, God. She's so faithful and faith-forward in everything she does, and I appreciate that, and I'm sure her husband is a big part of that too. So these are all really great examples of men and women who are just doing marriage really well, and we don't know all the details of what that looks like, but that they're just building up their husbands in the public sphere in such a positive light. I think it's really common and popular to tear down your husband, and I don't know if anybody listens to Michelle Obama's podcast, but she does a ton of tearing down Barack mm-hmm. Obama on her podcast, which is really sad. So to see women lifting them up is sweet. And yeah, it's kind of trendy to make fun of your husband, mm-hmm. but that's
Vogue just did a piece how it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend.
Right.
Or not just, but it's been a few weeks now, but yeah, that's becoming more.
Yeah. Like it's embarrassing, or it's weird or it's bragging to talk about how great your husband is. And there's a line, obviously, but I don't think we're even close to it. Yeah. So, I think that those women do a really good job of that.
And some thoughts to wrap up this podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about standards and some general dating advice for all of our young women listeners. The first point I want to bring up is the difference between being low maintenance and being undervalued. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of my friends, they're very low maintenance, very chill, but then sometimes their boyfriends kind of take advantage of that and end up undervaluing them. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the main differences in that, and how to tell if you're being undervalued, is if he's starting to put in less effort, or the effort that he had at the beginning sort of falls off, mm-hmm. or if your needs aren't being met in the way that they were before, and just things like that. If things are falling, his efforts falling, or if your needs aren't being taken care of in the way that they should, and the standards that you have set with him. I think that's the main difference. So just being on the lookout for that. Yeah,
there's definitely a big difference between being like a laid back girl and being taken advantage of by a guy who just doesn't want to try that hard. And I do think, like, I do have a lot of friends who the guy that they were dating kind of drifted into that passivity, because I've heard a lot of men talk about how that can be like a default of guys, is they kind of just get a little more passive because they're comfortable. But yeah, they'll have guys who drift into that, and they'll call them out on it and say, like, if you're not interested, then I'm out the door. And then the guy's like, okay, like, and he whips right into shape and never looks back. And I think that's awesome to be, because sometimes they just need like a little
Wake up call.
I don't want to talk about them like they're children. But sometimes it is helpful when the girlfriend says something about it to get them to call them higher, because nothing should be a bigger motivator to them than the girl that they're dating to say, hey, you're failing in this area. That really drives them, I think. And I know that like anytime I talk to my husband about, I mean, we really like he's so great. So like there's never any issues, but there's been so many times when he like can identify like, oh, I'm slacking here, just so you know, like I still value you in this whatever way. So that's always like really reassuring to have those conversations. So it also goes back to communication, honestly. That is truly the key to everything. But yeah, I think you're right about having standards to be treated a certain way. And I think that what makes me sad is that girls tend to be like really agreeable and understanding, which is a good quality, but they let it go too far. And a lot of women I know will say, well, it's all in my head. Like, am I being crazy? Am I being too much? And then they start to think that they're the ones who are high maintenance. And that's not the case at all. I'm like, I know you and you are easy and chill and laid back. And he's getting mad at you for you calling him higher. This is probably not the guy, because that's your friend. You have to check in with your friends, because your friends will tell you, yeah, maybe you're like asking too much of him, or they'll say, no, you're absolutely validated in this, and it's him who's the problem here. So I think always relying on your friends to inform you. So I like that one a lot. Another one is like the talking stage, which is kind of a Gen Z / millennial phenomenon. And I'm like so interested to see how Gen Alpha handles dating. So that'll be interesting. But the fact that people will talk to a guy for what seems like an endless amount of time. It's like 6 months of texting back and forth, and he hasn't made it official. Mm-hmm. So what would you do?
I think I would just leave at that point. If he's maybe talk to them first, be like, listen, is this something that you want? Mm-hmm. Is this something you're pursuing? Are you pursuing me, or am I just kind of a boredom thing? Do you like having a person to text? Is that all it is? Mm-hmm. I think if you kind of, I don't want to say like spring it on them, but if you ask that just very directly at a point where maybe he wasn't thinking of having a serious conversation, but kind of just asking that kind of candidly, mm-hmm. I think that's a good way to put it. He doesn't have too much time to think. So it really will be like whatever is on his heart. Yeah. And hopefully he's honest about it. And if he is, and if he's just wanting someone to text, a pretty girl to cheer him on at football games mm-hmm. and things like that, then you're worth more than that. And don't settle for that. Yeah. So just calling it out.
I do think that a lot of guys wake up to that because they get entrenched in a culture of endless talking. And I don't know how it started, but I do not believe that guys are that afraid of commitment. Like, I don't think that that's the issue. I think the issue is that they've just become accustomed to like, this is the normal. And so I think if girls were to say, you need to make this official or I'm done, they would snap into shape. Like, that's my guess. And I feel like I've seen that with a lot of my friends who are dating now, that they just need to be, which is so unfortunate that that's like the girl's responsibility now, because it really shouldn't have to be, that we need a culture of men who are like taking the lead. And so many great guys out there who do that. So I have a great one. I know like Catherine's engaged and she has a great one too. So they're definitely out there, and you don't have to date someone who's going to lead you on for 6 months. I mean, I have a friend who's like talking to a guy for 9 months to a year, something crazy like that. I'm like, that's like the time it takes to have a baby. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And it's crazy. Sometimes it is on the girl, probably not your friend, but sometimes the guys, or I've heard this from some of my guy friends, they're so scared to like scare off the girl. Yeah. Because maybe she's not super, relationship minded, or she mm-hmm. has these big goals and things like that, which is good. There's a line of certain things, but she's very busy in that realm. So he doesn't want to like stress her out or put a label on it or whatever. But I think if that's an issue with a girl too, then that's just the same problem. Right. Like if she doesn't want to put a label on it. So having someone equally yoked in that way. Yes. And equally yoked in a lot of other things too. Right. I think that's very, very needed.
Yeah. I mean, being equally yoked is so important. And obviously that applies to your faith. And as much similarity in your faith and in your core beliefs that you can have is better. yeah, something that Ethan says a lot is like the more similar you are, the fewer issues you'll have, which I don't want to generalize or make a blanket statement, but that is true for the most part. If you don't have to argue over where you are going to go to church, if you don't have to argue over like the strategy for raising kids or discipline or all those things, it just makes it more simple. It tends to make it more simple. Again, I'm afraid they're going to come at me for generalizing. But like, obviously there's going to be differences, but those are just going to require communication and understanding. So it's really, my marriage ended up being really easy, at least in the first year and a half, because we already went to the same church. We have the same ideas about conservatism. I mean, he's like, he's very, very conservative too. So it just makes things a lot easier. So simplifies things a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that, I think that's all the advice we have, all the thoughts we have. Happy Valentine's Day to all of our listeners. And we hope to see you tune in on the next one.
Yes. Bye, you guys.